Behind Dutch Headlines, the who, why, and how of politics and media in the Lowlands.
Hey, I'm Greg Shapiro, explaining what you need to know to join the Dutch conversation. This week, Prince Willem-Alexander finally reaches the back row of the checkers board. The polder model, explaining why Dutch people are the tallest in the world because the short ones drowned. And Fira rail service. A Dutch guy, a Belgian, and an Italian walk into a bar and they stay there because their train broke. Our top story, Game of Thrones, the next generation. All across Europe, there are many royals who are well past their expiration date, but while most Europeans are debating what's the right retirement age for many different professions, the Dutch have set the trend again. Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands made a clear statement on royal retirement age by quitting on her 75th birthday. The transfer of power to Willem-Alexander will take place on the 30th of April this year, making for the mother of all Queen's Days. You may have witnessed Queen's Day in the past. This is going to be nothing like that. Now, the Dutch, who are not known for being passionate in their daily lives, are going to get everything out of the closets on the 30th of April this year. Imagine a normal Queen's Day combined with the Dutch in the World Cup final and Gay Pride Day, all rolled into one big orange spectacle covered in stroopwafels. You don't want to miss this one. Another sacred Dutch institution in the news is the polder model, the Dutch way of getting things done by compromise. There are always three elements involved. You've got the government, you've got labor unions, and industry. And in America, can you imagine if you would take Obama representing the government, you'd take, Donald Trump representing the job creators, and representing labor unions, you'd have like Jimmy Hoffa. They'd probably call him the welfare takers. In the Netherlands, you'd have to put these three people at the same table and make them drink coffee until they all agreed on something. Generally, someone putting their finger in a dike. Now, on the labor side in the Netherlands, for the longest time, you've had this one woman, Agnes Jongerius. She's out. And the new guy, Ton Hertz, is in, and he is swinging his bat at the new cabinet. More on that next week. And finally, Fira. After a series of high-profile failures of the high-speed service between Amsterdam and Brussels, the new train line has been suspended indefinitely. And let the blame game begin. The Belgians are blaming the Dutch are blaming the Belgians, and everyone is blaming the Italians for manufacturing the faulty trains. Who chose this Italian contract in the first place, even though the Italians admittedly don't have a lot of experience making trains? Apparently, the cheap contract was chosen by the cheap Dutch because they're cheap. But don't forget, the Americans have no high-speed train line, and they have budget problems. So, may we suggest the Ferrari? For Behind the Dutch Headlines, I'm Greg Shapiro. See you next week.
Behind Dutch Headlines.